In today's Hero Central, a story of how music helped save a man's life from coronavirus. Dave Navarro says music also helped him honor his father. His dad was a World War II veteran who died while Dave was in the hospital fighting his COVID. When Dave was 8 years old, his father gave him a trumpet. 60 years later, it's practically never left his side. But things changed after he played with his band in July. His guitar player said he wasn't feeling good. It was coronavirus, and then it spread to the rest of the band members and ultimately to Navarro's family. Navarro became so sick, doctors put him on a ventilator. He woke up 3 weeks later, and that's when he learned his father had passed away. Martin Navarro was 98 years old. He was a war hero. Dave Navarro says he willed himself to heal quickly so he would be able to help honor his dad.
I have to go to my dad's funeral and play taps.
The first thing he told me is I need you to go get my trumpet.
A rehab recovery that should have taken 4 weeks took him 7 days. Navarro was released 1 day before his father's funeral. That following day, from a wheelchair, horn in hand, Dave's still healing lungs honored his personal hero.
And that first note came out so strong and clear. I thought, you know what? I'm going to make it through this.
Navarro's daughter says his trumpet and determination to pay tribute to his father helped save his life.